The innovation of Bitcoin staking is undoubtedly one of the most significant and most likely impactful innovations in the Bitcoin ecosystem ever since its inception, because it basically allows BTC as an asset to generate cash flow. And for an asset that has a $2 trillion market cap, this is actually a huge pie, which is also one of the reasons why we're seeing this huge renaissance in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Rollups, sidechains, infrastructure, liquid staking protocols, programmability, smart contracts, you name it. Bitcoin is undergoing a true renaissance in 2024. And many of these innovations actually come from the Cosmos ecosystem. And even though the past 6 to 8 months have been really bad, especially for altcoins, we're seeing a lot of VC monies actually going into Bitcoin ecosystem projects. Binance Labs, Multicoin Capital, Polychain, Placeholder, OKX Ventures, Longhash, they're all investing in Bitcoin ecosystem and Bitcoin infrastructure. And in addition to the Bitcoin ETF that was approved in the US earlier this year in January, where now we see BlackRock, Fidelity, and all these big traditional fund managers getting into Bitcoin, we're also seeing Coinbase that just announced, this is fresh off the press, just announced cbBTC, Coinbase BTC, which is basically an ERC20 Bitcoin-backed asset that is now being rolled out. Most of this will obviously be used to bootstrap liquidity on their own Ethereum L2, which is called Base, but also on the Ethereum mainnet itself. And a lot of these DeFi protocols are supporting cbBTC on their protocols, which means that Bitcoin holders for the first time, or Bitcoin investors, have access to yield, to on-chain yield. And if you've been subscribed to Cryptocito for a while now, then you know Babylon in and out. If somebody wakes you up at 3 a.m. in the morning, you know the answer. Anything about Babylon, you know their team, you know what they're doing, you know the architecture of the network, and you also know why most of the chains in their ecosystem are actually Cosmos SDK blockchains. And if you're new to Cryptocito, then I'm going to tell you the answer. And that is why Babylon itself is a Cosmos SDK blockchain, which means the primary yield source for using Babylon for their Bitcoin staking service is coming from the interchain, is coming from the Cosmos ecosystem. And we have a lot of contenders. In fact, if you're coming for Cosmos this year, you will see a lot of them because we have a huge Bitcoin track that is also led, of course, by Babylon and stretches from Cosmos itself all the way to Hackmos. We're also doing a 3-day hackathon there. And you will see a lot of projects, founders, builders, investors, developers that are all interested in Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ecosystem and Bitcoin staking. And from planning this year's Cosmos, I can tell you that the Bitcoin track is actually the most demanded track that we have this year, which is also to my surprise. But the Bitcoin hype is real, the Bitcoin renaissance is real, and the ecosystem is coming together nicely. One of the best Bitcoin liquid staking providers there is undoubtedly Pstake. They have been in the game for a very long time. In fact, since 2019, they talked about app chains, they talked about IBC, they talked about liquid staking way before anyone else did. And I met a team in sometime late 2020, early 2021. And I learned a lot from them over my journey as well when it comes to liquid staking, when it comes to the app chain thesis and sovereignty and interoperability. They started off their journey by being an LST provider for Ethereum. Then they migrated everything to Cosmos. And now they're also depreciating their Cosmos services, which is why you need to take immediate action after watching this video to go full steam, all eyes on Bitcoin, and tightly integrate Babylon's trustless BTC staking protocol. There's going to be a lot of incentives. The first cap has already been reached. We made a video about that also the day it went live. And the current TVL of Pstake is 6.5 million, which to be honest, I don't think is going to stay that low for a long time. Pstake is also backed by Coinbase, by Binance Labs, Spartan, Galaxy, Defiance Capital as well, and many other investors, and has been around for a very long time. They also have been media partners here of Cryptocito. That media partnership has come to an end. And in this video, I also want to share kind of their roadmap, also my personal thoughts about their journey and what they're planning on doing next. If we look at their TVL developments, we can see that currently around 45-50% is actually their TVL that's coming from Bitcoin, over $3 million. And that is not going to grow in the next coming days and weeks because the Babylon caps have been reached actually within just a few minutes, so there's no more capacities available right now. And the 3.19 million that is currently on Persistence 1, which is the underlying layer 1 blockchain that's also built on the Cosmos SDK. Pstake is a liquid staking provider service that's built on top of the Persistence 1 network. But those assets that are native to Persistence are being depreciated And that means this number is likely to go down, whereas this number is poised to go parabolic as Babylon also enters their next stage and raises the caps. The market cap of the Pstake token itself is around 25 million FTV and has around $900K to $1 million in daily volume. Now, to verify what I just said about Babylon, you can go over on their staking dashboard and you'll see that the staking TVL cap is 1,000 BTC, which was filled out instantaneously. In fact, it was severely oversubscribed, massive FOMO. It even caused the Bitcoin transaction fees to go up, and Pstake managed to get 11 BTC into Babylon on mainnet. The top providers here are RockX, around 300 BTC. I think this is Bedrock. Solve Protocol 150, Lorenzo 129, but Pstake made it to the top 12, which to be honest is quite impressive considering the competition around that. With Cryptocito as a validator, we're obviously also one of the finality providers, and we also, I'm very proud of that to be honest, got 0.489 BTC in delegations or in BTC that was staked with us. And as a small retail validator compared to all the names that are above us, I'm very, very proud of that and very excited about this achievement. Anyways, getting back to Pstake and Babylon, Pstake was in fact one of the first ones to announce that they're going to launch BTC liquid staking and use Babylon's Bitcoin staking protocol. This was announced on May 15, 2024. We also made a video at that time. Testnet was then launched on June 18th of 2024 and mainnet on the Persistence Network on July 29th, 2024. And in fact, over 50 BTC have already been staked with Pstake, 11 of which made it into the Babylon mainnet. And once the caps will be raised, this number, like I said, is also poised to increase. And to be honest, I think those numbers alone already show that Pstake not only has strong product market fit with their product, but also that they managed to actually stay competitive and also get a pie of the giant Bitcoin cake and the giant Babylon cake to start with. And they have cool things in the pipeline, which we're also going to be talking about later in the roadmap. A SAT drop program, which is basically their own points program. And staking with Pstake also gives you a pro rata share of the Babylon points program. So you basically have two points programs running in parallel, one of them being the BBN token, the Babylon token points program, and the other one is the SAT drop campaign by Pstake. And this is not yet live. Obviously, also makes sense to diversify your staking providers, especially with something brand new like BTC staking. And I think with Pstake and Cryptocito, of course, you are in really good hands. The SAT drop program is going to launch very, very soon. In fact, they are going to go to Token 2049, which is a conference happening in Singapore this upcoming week in a couple of days. And they will probably have a lot of announcements there. I think overall, we're going to see a lot of announcements across the board from a lot of ecosystems next week in Singapore. If you have already staked with Pstake or you plan on doing so, you can have a very smooth overview here of the staking interface on their brand new dashboard. They also added more features here. You can also see how much early adopter rewards you're getting here in Pstake tokens. And you will see how many Babylon points you'll also receive and also how much you actually staked into Babylon. They got OKX wallet, BitGet, Ledger, Unisat, which was just integrated, and also Bybit that you can use to stake your BTC through Pstake. In fact, the Bybit partnership is even closer because they also have a pool of 100,000 Pstake tokens and a boost for your PSATs if you are staking your BTC through the Bybit official mobile app. So if you're staking on mobile through Bybit with Pstake, then you're boosting your PSATs points by 3x and you are farming Pstake tokens. Now, like I said, this is very, very important news, and I really want you to do the work now and not forget it, because this is something that if you watch this video now and then you go do something else, you'll not do this and then you'll forget about it. And then in 6 months, you'll probably panic about it. So Pstake announced that by January 5th, they will be depreciating support for Cosmos liquid staking. Now, of course, this is all on chain. Your assets will never be just gone, like nobody can just delete your assets. But what they're saying here is that they're going to depreciate the support, means the front end, the interface, the technical maintenance for those STK assets that are deployed across DeFi protocols in Cosmos DeFi, on Osmosis, on Shade Protocol, on Quasar, on Mars Protocol, on UMI, and on their own persistence DEX. So you'll have to take immediate action and go over on app.pstake.finance/Cosmos, and you'll have to come here. If you have your assets, you can unstake or you can also just swap them. And if you have positions in DeFi, then you have to check one by one to make 100% sure there's also still liquidity on Astroport, that all your liquidity is being withdrawn and that you are exiting your STK asset positions. This is very, very important. In addition, they also announced that they're going to return their protocol on liquidity. So remember how they did a couple of proposals when also Stride was doing it, and a couple of months ago, way before Hydro was anywhere close to being launched. Persistence also received, I think, a couple 100,000 Atom to be deployed in DeFi, across DeFi, in STK Atom mostly. And this is now being returned. In fact, this is being returned to Hydro, and then projects will compete for liquidity there, but Pstake is not going to participate there. Why? Well, because they're now all eyes on Bitcoin, like I said in the intro, and they're focused on their Bitcoin LST, which is going to be called YBTC, Yield Bearing Bitcoin, Yield BTC, and this is their only focus moving forward. Now, if all that I said until now still does not make that much sense to you, then I strongly urge you to watch this interview, which I did in early February 2024 here in Dubai, with David, the founder of Babylon, and also Mikhail, the co-founder of Pstake, and also all the content I did over the years around Babylon. I did one recent here 2 months ago that also talks about Babylon, Pstake, and BTCFi, gives an overview about Babylon, also gives an overview of some of the explanations by David himself. Also a quick recap of my interview that I did with David and Zaki back in 2022 at my crib in Lisbon. So watch all these videos to fully understand why this is so meaningful, how it works, and what impact it has. Now let's get to the roadmap, especially after they announced that they're depreciating support for Cosmos assets. What does that mean? Well, first of all, it doesn't mean that they're leaving Cosmos. Persistence still remains a Cosmos SDK blockchain, and so does Babylon. And YBTC is still predominantly, I guess, going to be sourcing its yield from the Cosmos ecosystem and all the app chains in the IBC economy, right? But they are depreciating support for all the Cosmos assets for their liquid staking protocol, especially considering that now we also have Drop, Stride is still there. We have also more liquid staking protocols like Milky Way that are also more in the liquid restaking ecosystem, whereas Stride is a traditional LST provider, and so is Drop. I think that the competition for the Cosmos LST space is still extremely healthy and diverse, and especially Drop, I think, has a good chance to absorb some of that market share from the departure of Pstake. Anyways, what's next? Number one, the launch of the Pstake SAT drop campaign to earn PSATs. Number two, launch YBTC. This is the big product launch, yield-bearing BTC on Ethereum. Next, launch Pstake self-custody Bitcoin liquid staking. Then integrate YBTC into leading DeFi protocols for additional points and yields, plus more security audits and more wallet integrations. And from Q4 onwards, the goal is to keep expanding, keep growing, taking YBTC to other ecosystems like Ethereum L2s, Bitcoin L2s, and more. And also to revamp Pstake tokenomics. This is going to be very interesting. If we look at the current distribution and kind of economy of the Pstake token, the total supply is 500 million tokens. The current price is actually around 5 cents. So the FTV, like I showed you earlier, is around $25 million. And yeah, you can see token distribution here, 16% for the team, 20% strategic sale, 4% for launchpad and bootstrapping, 20% in the treasury. There was a nice airdrop also for XPRT stakers, retroactive rewards as well, and also a CoinList public sale. Also listed on a lot of centralized exchanges, including Kraken, including OKX, Bybit, Crypto.com, and on DEXs, it's listed on Uniswap, Osmosis, of course, PancakeSwap, and many more. On a personal note, it's been great to be working with the Pstake team over the past couple of months on creating content, learning, sharing content, newsletter as well on our website here in video form, and many platforms as well. We also have the Cito Zone newsletter. So if you've been subscribed and you follow us also on other venues, then you are well aware of everything that's happening here. Also from Tang, my researcher, who's been leading this project as a kind of lead researcher, to also always get the scripts ready and collaborate with Aditya and Mikhail and the Pstake team to always get the most accurate alpha there is. So very grateful to have been working with them, and looking forward to see Pstake succeed. Pstake also capture market share from the $2 trillion pie, which is Bitcoin, because I think that the renaissance is real, the hype is real, and Bitcoin is going to have a huge ecosystem. It already has, but a lot of these things are still in development. And once they're all on mainnet, once the bull market is also coming back slowly, then I think we're going to see a huge Bitcoin season. Anyways, that's all for today. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll see you guys very soon. Until then, stay safe and be good.